Tilsen-Brave Heart. I'm the executive chef and co-owner of Etiquette Catering. We are located right downtown Rapid City at 521 7th Street. I own Etiquette Catering with my husband, Brandon Braveheart. We've been married for 15 years and Etiquette has been up and running for 2. We started Etiquette because it was a passion project for us. We have, through our relationship, have loved food and love highlighting our cultural connections to food. And so it's one of the reasons why we started Etiquette. I am an enrolled citizen of the Oglala Sioux tribe located on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, 81 miles south of Rapid City. My husband is enrolled at Northern Cheyenne, located in Busby, Montana. And so with both of our cultures, we love to honor where we come from and kind of turn it to a modern twist that makes it accessible for the everyday person. So today we are going to teach you how to make buffalo wild rice cranberry meatballs with a Blackberry Wojape. And buffalo is the traditional protein of the Lakota Sioux Nation that's here in South Dakota. And buffalo is how the Lakota people sustain themselves for many, many, many years. And we combined meat and berries traditionally for centuries. And the berry that we traditionally used is a chokecherry that is still growing wild here in South Dakota that you can forage and pick on the average day. And right now we're just getting into the chokecherry season. So it's perfect, but you can use any berry for Wojape, which is so beautiful. You can even use strawberries, blueberries, and today we'll be using blackberries. You can also use aronia berries that are very, very similar to chokecherries without the very hard, dense seed. And our buffalo, you can always use beef, but now because buffalo has become so accessible, you can get it at your average market, even at like a Whole Foods. So we are using buffalo, and to remember that buffalo has very, very limited fat. And so when you're making a meatball, there's things that you want to do to increase the fat content so your buffalo is not dry. So we're going to start out here with 1 pound of lean buffalo, and we've also added in about a 1/4 pound of Italian sausage, mild. You can get that anywhere. It doesn't matter the brand or anything because we're going to flavor it up ourselves. So you start out with that, and then you add wild rice. This is what real wild rice looks like. It's beautiful, it's black, and this is from the White Earth Reservation in Minnesota. We work with them a lot. And remember that Native people were nomadic people, so there were many, many times that we bartered between our tribes. And so even though that we're a Northern Plains tribe and they're a Woodlands tribe, we still used some of their ingredients as well as ours, and we traded. And so what you do when you're doing wild rice is you want to rinse it first. You want to rinse it with cold water and make sure that it's all clean, because wild rice is the wild. You want to make sure that it's completely clean. And so you clean it, and you can also use, there's blends if you can't access wild rice near you. But you want to use that, and you want to use about 1/2 cup of just a yellow onion. And in a pan, what you're going to do is you're going to saute it with a little bit of oil. Saute the onions, and actually you're going to pop the wild rice, and it just gently pops open for about 5 minutes. You don't want to burn it, so it's something you really want to watch. And then what you do is you add it's 3 cups of liquid per 1 cup of wild rice, which is very different from other rices. Most times it's 1-to-1. Here in South Dakota, because of our elevation, it's 2 cups of liquid per 1. So you're going to add, and I use bone broth. This is chicken bone broth. You can also buy it if you need to, but it adds so much dimension and flavor to your wild rice. It's absolutely delicious. And what I also do is I rehydrate cranberries, because cranberries, believe it or not, is also a native traditional food here in our country. And so what I do after this is popped, I add the liquid, combine the cranberries, cook it all, cover it and simmer for almost 45 minutes, which is quite a bit longer than your traditional rices. And what you're doing is you're gonna add that in, and that's gonna be your adhesive and glue to the meatballs to stick them all together. This is what it will look like once the rice is popped and once the cranberries are rehydrated as well. It also smells delicious. So now you have this. You have your 1 cup of wild rice. Again, it's a little bit of a modern twist, so we use 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Put that in there. We're gonna add a little bit of breadcrumbs. There's about a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. Again, you don't necessarily need this because of the wild rice is the glue, but I'm just gonna do it for this one because it makes it easier for all of us. And you're gonna use 1 egg per 1 pound of meat. And what's so great about the wild rice mixture is that you can use it for a lot of different things. One of my favorite things to do is using that same mixture that we had with the cranberries and wild rice and onions is actually stuffing a portobello mushroom and either putting it on the grill or in the oven. It's absolutely delicious, and mushrooms is a huge staple part of indigenous cuisine that we used a lot of and we still use today. And then in here, we've added it's about 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, and just a dash of paprika to add a little smoky flavor. And so this is kind of what it will look like as you are putting everything together. And I'm gonna put on my gloves because who wants to feel that? So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna get messy, and this is one of the favorite things to do with your kids because they love the slimy texture. So you just add everything all together. And at this time, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're preheating your oven for 375 degrees. So once your mixture is all beautifully combined together, you'll see here where it's all combined together, you're gonna wanna make, and there's different ways to do it. You can do it by hand. You can even use like an ice cream scoop. Remember that because of the lack of moisture with bison, you're going to lose some of your size. So you want them to be kind of a hearty size as you're making them. Again, because you're gonna lose it's gonna have some loss of moisture. And so then you're gonna put all of these on a baking sheet. I would definitely recommend using a parchment paper and setting them on a baking sheet and cooking for about 25 minutes. And you're going to want to check the internal temperature and have it be at 165 degrees. And so with that, I'm going to teach you how to make Wojape. So Wojape is this beautiful mixture of rendered down berries. And again, this is something that we used for many years. And it's very simple. It's just a cup of berries, a cup of sugar, a tablespoon of cornstarch, and about 1.5 cups of water. And what you do is you add all of them into your pan and you render them down, and you really want to watch it, and you don't want your temperature to be too high, and you want to make sure that it's becoming a really beautiful and nice texture. It's also really delicious and not overly sweet, but it has enough sweetness to really combine with the heartiness and savoriness of the bison buffalo. And so that takes about 10 minutes to render it down. If you are using a choke cherry or an aronia berry, something that has a hard seed inside, I definitely recommend using a cheesecloth and putting all of your berry mixture inside and putting a bowl underneath and actually squeezing it. Your mixture will come through and you'll have a very beautiful, clear Wojape. There you go. And so when you're done, what you do, and this is a perfect thing for a party. These are your beautiful bison meatballs. You can beautifully plate them with some sage. And then you just drizzle the choke cherry, this is Blackberry Wojape on top. So this is actually culinary sage, but the sage is one of the things that's very important to the Lakota people here. It is it's actually a great thing for purifying the air. Believe it or not, we also make it into a tea. And how you do that is you pick a wild sage, and there are lots of wild sage here. It's like a silver looking sage, and there's two kinds. There is a male sage and a female sage. The female sage has this beautiful flower on it. And it comes out actually later in the summer. The male sage is right now, is when we're picking it, and we use them for our traditional ceremonies. For our Sundance crowns, where we put them around our crowns and around our arms, and we also smudge our homes with them every single day. And we recommend other people doing it as well because it helps keep sickness away. It also is like clarity of spirit and mind. That is how you make bison buffalo meatballs and Lakota Blackberry Wojape. Again, we're Etiquette Catering Company. We are 100% Native owned, Native operated. Please follow us on social media. Thank you so much.